So in this video I'm going to show you how to create this card right here, which features a gradient watercolor background. So let's get started. So I have a piece of watercolor paper and I've cut this just a little bit bigger than a normal card size. So this is about 15 centimeters by 12 centimeters. And then I usually like to put mine on a little clipboard, wooden clipboard here. You can use chipboard. The reason being is that it tends to warp when you add water to it, so this way it just kind of stays in one spot. Now you can just simply tape this to your grid paper if you don't have anything else to tape it to. So I'm just using painter's tape to tape mine down today. Now washi tape would do the same effect, so that's fine. And the colours that I'm going to be using today is going to be Dapper Denim, Marina Mist, and Soft Sky. Okay, so I've got my colours there. I'm going to start with my darkest colour, and I'm just using my aqua painter here, and I'm just dripping in some water into my lid with all the ink there, and I'm going to start from the top and just paint that down my page. Now to remove any colour, I've just got some paper towel here. And I'm just going to wipe until it's clean. And then next I'm going to add some Marina Mist. I'm just going to use my aqua painter to put a little bit of water, mix my colour, and paint that on as well. And blending it up into that Dapper Denim to blend that colour together. Same thing, I'm going to wipe that clear and then add a bit of water to my Soft Sky and add that to the bottom. Now this is a pretty pale colour, so we want to probably add a bit more colour to this. Now you've got two options here. You can either leave that to dry before we apply our next layer, or if you want to speed things up you can use a heat tool. So I'm going to use a heat tool to speed this up and then we'll be back. So mine is now dry. I'm going to add a bit more colour, so I'm going to start with my darkest, my Dapper Denim, right across the top. And this time I'm not going to push as much water through my brush, and I'm just going to make it pretty stripy because I quite like having a bit more of different technique going through that. So my next, I'm just going to wipe that clear. I'm going to do the same with my Marina Mist. And lastly, my Soft Sky. Now if you don't like that colour look, you can always go back with your aqua painter and blend that in a bit more, but I quite like that as is, so I am going to use my heat tool once again to dry that off, and then we'll be back. Okay, so this is what it looks like now that it's been dried, and I'm just going to bring in my paper trimmer here, and I'm just going to cut off the edges. So I can set that all aside. So now I'm left with a 10 centimeter by 14 centimeter piece of watercolor paper. So the stain set I'm going to use for this is the So Very Much, which comes part of our celebration this year, and I'm going to use this big thank you greeting right here. So I've gone ahead and I've already mounted that to my imaging sheet. Well, before we do that, I'm just going to rub this with my embossing buddy to remove any static. And might actually just, because it's still a bit bowed, is just hold my cardstock down. So I'm just going to tape it to my table with some washi tape. Right, and then using my imaging sheet, I'm just going to stamp this using some Versamarker ink. Now, because it's watercolor paper, I am actually just going to go over it again with Versamark just to make sure that there's no gaps at all and that I've got Versamark ink in that whole greeting itself, because I can't quite see it at all on that paper there. And then I'm going to sprinkle on some gold embossing powder. Okay, so now I'm going to heat this with my heat tool until it melts, and then we'll be back. And to finish it off, I've got my Wink of Stella Gold brush here. So I'm just going to shake it up. Oops. There we go. And I'm just going to squeeze a little bit till I see that it's coming out on my brush. And then what I'm going to do is with my finger is flick it onto my card. Now the higher up you are, the littler the splats are, and the further closer to you down, the bigger the splats will be. So I'm just going to set that with my heat tool, and then we'll be back. And to finish my card, I'm just going to add some adhesive to the back. And stick it to a standard card base, leaving equal borders around all four sides. And then you can see what that looks like. Thanks for watching.